Okay, so today is a collab, a Pride collab with Kim's Happy Place. She invited me to do this collab. I think we did it last year as well. And I said, yes, it's been a while since I filmed, and I think I really want to do like a very extreme look, extreme, intricate. Did I say that right? I don't know. Welcome to my channel where I can't speak. Anyways, so I'm just gonna start like getting into it because of the vision that I have, which I don't know if this is gonna go well, you guys. I really don't. I'm kind of nervous. But because of the vision that I have and that it's gonna take a while, I'm nervous too about taking up your guys' time, because I feel like I need to do both eyes at the same time to make this, to make it, I don't know, go well, I don't know, to make it work. So we're just gonna get into it. And I suggest that you guys go follow Kim. We've collabed before, I already said that. Yeah, I really like Kim. She has an awesome channel where she does a lot of different things. So I just want to talk a little bit about me. I know I've done that before, but just about myself and my identity and where I'm at. And that is that I am agender. That is the term. I am agender. That is the term that I use. It's semi like non-binary, but I feel like non-binary is somebody who doesn't fit in with the genders, whereas agender to me is more defined as in I don't have a gender at all. Like I don't like gender. I don't feel like I resonate with even having an in-between identity with my gender. I don't have a gender. And yeah, I am also demisexual, pansexual. So demisexual is somebody who has to develop an emotional connection with somebody before sex is like thought about. So I can find people attractive. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I can look at somebody and go, wow, they're a really good looking person. But when it comes to finding somebody like sexually attractive, like I want to do it with them, that is not, it doesn't work for me. I don't think that way. I just don't have those sexual connections. I am not somebody who, you know, one night stands and things like that are fun or interesting to me or work for me, because it's not something that is of interest to me. I just don't find people attractive like that until I have some sort of connection with them, which sucks because when I build a connection with somebody, it doesn't have to be like super, you know, wild, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, I've known you for this long and we've had all of these deep conversations. I just have to have some sort of connection, and it could be semi-small or semi-big. But a lot of times, like when I was younger, I was building these connections with people that I thought were, you know, more than just like, we're gonna have a one night stand or whatever, and then I end up, you know, hanging out with somebody for a while or a couple of times, and then I open myself up like that, and then I come to find out it was just a one night stand, and then I've had all of my connections building with this person. And so it's been kind of like, it was hard when I was younger to navigate that. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. I'm not super great at talking. Let's see. I am also pansexual, which means that gender or what your body parts are is not, this is not going well for me right now, is not like a thing for me. I don't care if you have a penis. I don't care if you have a vagina. I don't care if you are intersex. I don't care about what your genitals are. It's, for me, everything is so, it is more based on an emotional connection that I can build with somebody that matters most to me, not what you're packing. So that like is me in a nutshell, sort of. My whole family is a very queer. Some people find that term offensive. The people that I'm talking about in my family do not find it offensive, and I like the term queer when it comes to talking about my identity because I'm different. I'm weird. I don't know. I'm just queer. I'm not the normal person. I'm different. I'm queer. But queer was also used as like a very hateful slur for a while, and so some people who identify other than, you know, straight do not like that term. So don't, you know, call people that unless you know that that's something that they're okay with. I have a very queer family, and I don't know what to say. Like, I want to say that I wish that there was more research. I really do feel like it runs in families. You know what I mean? Just knowing like how queer my family is it just makes me think that it's a family genetic, I don't know, thing. I don't know. But here I am telling you nothing because I'm trying to do my makeup and I'm losing my track on things. If you haven't been here before, I suck at talking and explaining my feelings and thoughts and like what I'm thinking. I'm trying really hard too not to blend the blue in with the pink because I don't want purple. So it's kind of a challenge. So what was I saying? I don't know, you guys. So my family is really queer. I've always known that I was like starting before I was, you know, in my adolescence and my childhood, young childhood, I went through puberty really early. I'm just going to state that. Like, I underwent like a bunch of tests and stuff. They were concerned about me. It was really unusual. And I was developing at a much higher rate than was acceptable or normal. So, you know, we're talking preschool and kindergarten, I started developing breasts. I you know, was very young. I started, you know, my menstrual cycle at like barely 8. I know that's more common now, but when I was growing up, that was not a thing. So by the time I was like 10, I had already gone through puberty and pretty much my entire puberty. I stopped growing by that time. I didn't get any bigger. Anyways, that's not what this is about. So I started having what I would say more like sexual attractions and things like that at a very young age because I had the hormones running through my body. And so by that time I started realizing that I was attracted to to men and I was attracted to women, girls and boys at that age, okay? We're not talking like old people, but appropriate attractions. And I grew up in a very, 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 very religious family, very toxic religion, and so I didn't talk about that, or even understand. I just knew that it was kind of like a sin and it was wrong. And eventually, by the time I was 12, I moved from my dad's house in Oklahoma to here in Oregon with my mom. And my mom told me that she was bisexual and she was sort of dating a woman. And so she had a crush on a woman. They weren't really dating. But I realized like it was okay to like women and it was okay to like men. And so I came out and was like, yeah, this is how I felt. I didn't know, you know, like I'm not going to hell for this. Like I can like women too. So by 12, I was able to verbalize like, hey, I'm attracted to everybody. Not everybody. I'm attracted to women and men. And I didn't know that intersex people or the variations of that existed. So I didn't have the like terminology to be like, well, you know, genitals don't matter to me, whatever. So just putting that out there. But I did have the verbiage and the knowledge about what I liked to say, hey, I like boys and girls. And yeah. Now, we're gonna flash forward. Well, actually, maybe we should go backwards. I don't know. I've always been different. As far as like my appearance, when I was younger, I covered my breasts a lot. I hid them. I didn't dress feminine. I dressed, gosh, and smearing, very masculine. And I didn't have a problem with that. And I liked, hanging out with the boys, and I arm wrestled and I played in the dirt. And I know that cis women can do that and like that too, okay? So if you do that and like that, more power to you. I'm not saying that you're like me, but I've always just never felt like super comfortable with certain parts of my body, including my breasts. I've never, sometimes I really don't like them and they bring me discomfort. And same with my hair. Sometimes my hair brings me discomfort and doesn't make me feel attractive. And I've never liked those parts about me. Like I have mixed feelings. Like some days I want my boobs and some days I don't. And some days like they make me really sad. And some days I really like my hair, while other days I hate my hair and I don't want any hair. And you know, so when I was like 18, I wore predominantly masculine things. I wore cologne, men deodorant, whatever, men deodorant, okay. I wore basketball shorts and wife beaters. That was my style. That was what I felt most comfortable in. And what I started realizing was like, okay, yeah, I could get women that way. But if I wanted to be with a man, like, that wasn't something that they really liked. And I started realizing that, and even some women didn't like that or wasn't attracted to that. So I started changing my style to more feminine look to draw attention to other people, to want to be desirable to other people. Now, I got with my partner that I'm currently with at like 18, and I'm like I think I'm turning 34 this year, so we've been together for a really long time. And when I met her, she was masculine presenting, and we had a kid together, and we have 3 kids together. And my daughter, when as soon as she could start talking, she told us that she was a girl. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know. I did. The only thing that I ever saw about trans people was like them being prostitutes, or sex workers would be the correct term, on like TV and Jerry Springer, and like just that was my exposure to it. And so, and I started doing a little bit of research, but I still didn't know where to look. And when my daughter came out, like, there wasn't as many resources or information as there is now. And I didn't know what to do. Like, what do I do? I don't know. Like, and finally, like, I found some support here in town. Like, I'm so thankful that I lived here and not like Oklahoma. And and so I was able to find like support groups and things. Information more so is what I needed. Like, what do I do? How do I support my kid? Like, all of that stuff. And so I got that information and started researching. And for a little bit, like, I only let her wear girl clothes at home. She's in preschool at this point. And she started misbehaving really bad. And she was like urinating on the couch and like just really angry and upset and just was not happy. She would come home from school and from preschool, and she would just rip off the clothes that I forced her to wear and put on the more feminine clothes. And she did this for a while, and I was getting more and more concerned about her behavior, just not about her her depression. What she seemed was really sad. She was a sad fucking preschooler, and if you like, that's not something that you would think that you would ever see. Or like, why is this preschooler so just sad and angry? And she would also, when I'd be putting laundry away, would start beating up the boy clothes. I'm saying that quote unquote because I really don't believe that clothes have gender, but a lot of you do. A lot of people believe that, and so it's just easier to say that. Okay, so the more masculine clothes, she was coming home and beating them up. And one day I get a call from the preschool, and they're like, so I just want to let you know about something that happened. And I'm like, okay, what happened? And they had said that they called all of the 4-year-old girls to go wash their hands. And then they called all the 4-year-old boys, and then all the 5-year-old boys, and all the 5-year-old girls. And my daughter, she didn't move. And then the teacher said, well, hey, Tilly, you didn't go and wash your hands. And she said, but I'm not a boy. And the preschool teacher was like, well, you didn't go with the girls either. And she was like, I can go with the girls? And the preschool teacher is like, yeah. And from that day that I got that phone call, I let my daughter be her authentic self. And when I was talking to the preschool teacher, I said, okay, well, we've kind of known that this was happening, you know, that Tilly wasn't comfortable with, you know, masculine clothes and masculine pronouns. So you're gonna see a change, and she will be coming to school wearing feminine clothes and using she, her pronouns. And so I need you to be on board with that. And she has lived authentically since. And so while that was happening, my partner was telling me, you know, like, didn't have the words either, and wasn't very accepting at first. And so I presented all of the research and the information that I found, and so she got on board, and she quickly went through, my partner, a depression, huge depression, like lost her job, started drinking a lot. It was some of the darkest times of my life, to be honest. It was just really hard. And so after that, you know, my partner was experiencing severe depression and just behavioral changes. And I will tell you this too. I always thought my partner was gay. Like, I always thought that she was going to leave me for a man, and that she was gay, because she was very feminine-ish. But then her behavior started changing, and she started becoming what I would call like a very toxic, man. Just what America sees as a man. And it was very toxic. It was toxic masculinity, and it was not good. It was not good. And we, you know, almost broke up because of it and everything. But she, at one point, said something to me like, I wouldn't make a very good woman, would I? And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? But that didn't like, still, it didn't like hit in my mind like, oh, you know? And not too long after a lot of conversations, she's like, well, I need to tell you something. And, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like sitting there and not fully sure. And she's like, I am a woman, and I've always known that, but I didn't know it was allowed, or what being trans was. And I thought that all men thought the way that I did and wanted to be a woman and wanted, you know, that, and I didn't know, and now I do, and it's destroying me trying to be the person that I think that you want me to be, and I can't do it anymore. And here I am. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? Like, it was a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot. Like, but honestly, I wasn't overly shocked, because I've always knew that something was different about her. And even like when her brother found out and stuff, they weren't supportive, but like when they did come around, they're like, we've always known, you know, we always thought you were, you know, different, you know, you always you know, acted very feminine and whatever. And so, you know, like, yeah. And I became in a lesbian relationship with a trans partner, and I had a trans daughter.
I didn't understand that.
So we did that, and we worked at the same place together, and we ended up, she quit before I did, but because it was really toxic. But we ended up having to like quit our decent jobs. We lost our house. We lost a lot because the place we were working at did not support us. They weren't okay with the fact that she was transitioning in the workplace. People were questioning my sexuality and like asking me really gross questions, and also saying really nasty things about her to me. And so like I even changed departments in the place that I worked with, but because of the department that we had worked in, we were all over the place, and everybody knew because it wasn't as common, you know. And so as common, I mean, more people weren't out. It wasn't, you know, people, it just, the awareness wasn't there. And yeah, so we lost everything. We were very close to being homeless. It was freaking hard. I don't, you know, so here I am on this video telling you about my family, when I know that there's going to be a lot of nasty, potentially a lot of nasty comments, because people think I'm grooming my child, or that my partner is gross and nasty. So we're gonna get to my identity. Again, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I have always felt off. But again, it was just kind of like whatever. And when we went to Gender Odyssey is what it's called. It was held in Seattle, which is like 6 hours or something like that away from here. And we went to this amazing conference. It's like a bunch of queer people, a bunch of doctors who provided care, a bunch of like seminars and classes that you could take. It was freaking amazing. It was an amazing experience. And we had to write our pronouns and gender on our name tag. And I just remember like not liking that. And when we were in classes, if it was like, we separated, I went and took my own classes, she took her own, like because I wanted to know different things about the community and different knowledge. But just so the first day, like I remember if we had like a class where we would talk in a group, you'd have to introduce yourself and you would have to say your pronouns and your name. And I just hated it. I hated it. I didn't like it. I was like, this doesn't feel right. I don't like this at all. This is making me feel sick. And so the next day I went and I took all of the non-binary classes. And I listened to other people's stories and what it was and the information on that and like what it was like. And I was like, oh. And I came out to my partner very shortly after that, that I didn't think that I was, cisgender. I didn't, I've always felt off with my body. I've always felt different. And I think that they, them pronouns would make me feel better and more confident. And this is me. And so here we are. Like, yeah. Pride to me is one about being happy and celebrating our identity, but also about fighting for our rights and making people recognize that we're still here. We exist. We're regular people. We're not going anywhere. And just an attempt to we just want to live our lives, and we can't. We lost our jobs. We're almost homeless. We've been attacked physically, verbally. My daughter has been attacked physically and verbally. My daughter, an adolescent. We live in a very unsafe flux, and it feels even unsafer now. I know that like a long time ago it was really unsafe, but we're going back to that. We are banning trans people. We're taking away healthcare, which would kill my family. It would kill my daughter. It would kill my partner. We're in the process of doing that to people. And so I feel like this year for me, pride is even bigger. It's even bigger. It's even more important because people are currently taking my family's right to exist away, and they want it. It feels like they want my family dead. Either they want my family in the closet, which is deadly, or they want us like to actually just die. Like they don't want people like us around, and it's scary right now. The people are spreading so much hate and so many things, and they're so afraid of us. Like they're afraid of us while attacking us, and yet like you're literally attacking us. You're attacking us and you're afraid of us. Like we're not criminals. I know that there are criminals within the community that exists, okay? But like most of us are not criminals. Like we're not trying to harm children. In fact, if I wasn't supportive to my daughter, I don't know what could have happened, because she was depressed and not happy. And like, if I wouldn't have like supported her, she may not be here today. Or if she was, she might not be doing as well as she is. Like, she might be a criminal. Like, she might be doing drugs and harming others or herself, being more self-destructive. So there are people who are literally like, well, I don't know what I would do if my kid was trans. Like, how do I say this? My kid was telling me who they were and was suffering not being allowed to be who she was. She was suffering. I was causing pain to my child to force her to live as someone she's not. And so my question to people is always like, well, what would you do if your kid was acting like that? Like, if your child was suffering because you were refusing to let them be who they are, like, you would let them suffer, you would let them die, you would let them hide who they are from you because you have an issue with that. Like, as a parent, you are supposed to love your child unconditionally and support your child. And so how could you not? It blows my mind that people are literally hurting their children because their idea of who they were isn't what you thought. Like, people, I've heard a lot of people be like, well, I lost my spouse when they transitioned. They're not the same person. Or I lost my daughter when they transitioned. Or I lost my son when they transitioned. They died. No, they fucking didn't. They're still there, and now they are thriving. Fucking thriving. So you're just, it's delusional to me. And yeah, I feel like this video could get a shit ton of hate because right now is the time where people are spreading nastiness and hating the community and hating me and hating my family. But it's also really important. And yeah, I support trans people, I support gay people, I support gender fluid people, I support everybody on, I call it, I know this is stupid because I've never heard anybody else call it, and people might get offended, actually, I don't know, but I call it the rainbow. I support the rainbow, the spectrum, the people on the rainbow. And I mean, it doesn't mean much coming from me because I'm part of it. I'm part of it, and because I'm part of it, like, it doesn't mean as much. And I do urge people right now living in states where rights are being taken away that you stand up for your trans and gay and drag queen communities, and you call Congress and you tell them that you don't want these laws to pass, and that you stand by the minority where these rights are being taken. It's so important for allies to now not just say they're an ally or that they support the community, but actually fight for the community, because right now the community needs it. And, you know, Texas is trying to take away, like if I was in Texas, they could try and take away my daughter from me. You know, hormones and things like that are being stripped away. Florida, it's very, very scary right now. And I just hope that more people will speak up and speak out. The internet and things like that are very toxic, and I hate it because I have a teen daughter, and like all of the hateful posts are there about her and who she is, and it's taking a toll on her. She doesn't feel good about herself. My partner doesn't. They're scared. We've looked into like fleeing to Canada, and if we could even, and what that would look like, escape routes. I like that's where we're at. And I'm not, like, some of you might be like, oh, you're exaggerating, but I'm really not, you guys. I'm really not. And that's the scary part, is that I'm not. And yeah, be kind to your community, be kind to your trans community, because your gay community, they need it right now. Like, need it. You know, we've been like, we've had, you know, people follow us around stores taking pictures. We've had men attack Amy, women attack us, even with our kids. My daughter's been threatened, had people, you know, start fights with her. We get messages just randomly on Facebook. I shouldn't say we, because I pass a cis, so I don't get a lot of that, but my kid does and my partner does. Just a lot of hateful messages about her appearance, or her existence, and they do it to my daughter too. My fucking daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, is under attack by grown men and women. And then you say, and you look at my kid and you say she's the one that's wrong. I just have no fucking words for that. None. Because how could I like have any words for that? Like, who's morally right and who's morally wrong right now? I don't know, but you're literally attacking a child. You're literally attacking a child right now. Like, because you're so threatened by her differences. What does it matter the way that she is or expresses herself? We're all human. We all experience our human our human experience is individual. We all have different we'll have a different human experience, and I just don't understand the hate. I'm trying not to like cry. I don't know how many times I've kind of broken down about just because I used cream, it keeps freaking messing up. but we've all been like, I don't remember what I was gonna say now. I don't understand. I don't understand the hate in people's hearts to just hate my family so much. Like, I don't get it. I probably never will, because it's just not in my nature. And yeah. If you think that spreading really gross, hateful messages for people to see and hate themselves even more, like, you're just a wrong person. You're a horrible person, in my opinion. And the trans community has a high rate of suicide, and a lot of these hateful people will say, well, you're clearly mentally ill, that's why. And failing to realize, like, it's because of the lack of support, the lack of medical care, the hate that is spread, the way that they're treated, that contributes to suicide and suicide rates. And you want to blame them not being mentally healthy. And that's why when they're literally under fucking attack, like, you're literally talking non-stop about how much you hate them and hate their existence. But hey, they're mentally ill, you know. I just can't. So pride is very important to me and to my family. I'm sad because our town doesn't celebrate Pride until August, and it's so freaking hot in August too. It's like, really, why? I don't know why we do that here, but it's annoying. I'd much rather celebrate it when everybody else is celebrating it, and also when it's not as hot outside. But yeah, I'm gonna go off camera. I'm going to finish this look up and then I'll be back. Please don't go anywhere. Okay, so here's my Pride look. Anyway, it's not great, but it was fun. Anyways, you guys should go check out Kim. Thank you for doing this video with me. I know that mine is probably really long. I just feel like my story and my family's story is important. People should be more kind to the LGBTQIA plus community and more accepting of differences, and realize that we're all just people and this is our human experience and it's not harming you or anybody else. So yeah, I'm just gonna go now. Thanks for being here. If there is any negative comments down below, I will be deleting it. So don't even try. Okay, bye.